Adam Rupeka and his girlfriend Jennifer Ogburn were both found dead in Mexico on April 3rd, 2016. The police say that it was a double suicide, and here's why I'm skeptical about that. Let's talk about it. Adam was a police accountability activist with Capital District Cop Block in New York. He was infamous for challenging the police state by testing officers' adherence to the law and for exposing police misconduct. And he was also somewhat a friend of mine. Though I didn't know him well, we did correspond quite a bit via Facebook back in my cop block days due to our joint interest in police accountability. For those of you who are not familiar with who Adam was, I'll give you a really quick breakdown of what happened here. Adam was a cop watcher. He did auditing, and it all started out with a middle finger that he gave to a Saratoga Springs, New York sheriff's deputy, all in a protest and to exercise his rights like most of us do. And as a result, he was pepper sprayed, taken to jail, and his case became pretty high profile. There was a lot of people who were not very happy with what he was doing with the police because it was somewhat unheard of in that area. Him and his girlfriend, long story short, they ended up getting accused of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old. And so they both were on the run, and they wound up in Mexico and ended up dying of an overdose that was ruled as a suicide. So there's a lot of really strange issues surrounding these deaths here, and I wanted to discuss that with you guys today. Let's start at the very beginning. Adam gets pulled over after giving this officer the middle finger. Let's watch.
Hello, license registration?
What are you pulling me over for?
I'll be glad to tell you as soon as you give me your information.
Well, I'll give you my information once you can articulate what crime I've committed.
Okay, license registration.
What crime have I committed?
Okay, step out of the vehicle.
What crime have I committed?
Step out of the vehicle.
This is being recorded.
I saw your camera. Step out of the vehicle. Step out of the vehicle. You're under arrest for disorderly conduct. Step out.
That's not a charge for...
Step out of the vehicle. You're under arrest for disorderly conduct. You gonna comply? Are you gonna comply?
I can't.
Unbuckle. Unbuckle and step out of the vehicle.
I'm going to sue the shit out of you guys.
Unbuckle. Step out of the vehicle.
I am.
Put your hands behind your back. There you go.
The Supreme Court has ruled that giving you guys a finger is not disorderly conduct. Freedom of speech.
Well, you happen to know? Our judge needs to decide otherwise.
Well, he can't override the Supreme Court.
So as you could see, Officer Baker acted with reckless disregard for the law, as well as the safety and well-being, not to mention the civil rights, of a citizen. But he wasn't finished yet. He then went on to abuse and harass Adam once he got back to the police station.
You know, I can't see.
Want to see where it's on that?
No, he pepper sprayed me.
Should go up here. Take a seat in the great best there, everybody. True. Right there. Perfect. Sit tight. I'll be right back. You and that's around the way for you. Stop. Oh, what's on the floor, man? Seriously? Splotchy ass spit on the floor. Oh, that's alright. Sit down. Sit down. 11521 Sit down.
I'm having trouble breathing.
Sit down, or I'm going to sit you down.
I'm having trouble breathing, and standing helps get
Sit
the pressure
down.
off my lungs. I explained to you I had surgery on my throat and everything.
I'm very happy with it. It was successful. Sit down.
Michael. Last name.
EMS is going to come check you out, okay?
He's breathing just fine. He's talking and breathing.
Or
He's good.
EMS is going to check you
I know, I promise. Adam, sit down or I'm going to sit you down.
out.
Address 37.
There you go. Sit down.
There's a health concern.
Sit down or I'm going to sit you down.
It's a health.
Sit down.
Sit down. Sit down.
Down.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down. All right. Lay down, please.
There you go. Now you're sit. Don't get up.
You done being a douchebag or you want to cooperate? I can tase you, I can pepper spray you again, I can use hard hand strikes. Which do you prefer, Adam? Which is it?
Very professional.
I'm a professional kind of guy.
Listen, if you behave, the EMS is here.
If you stand up again without being ordered to do so, I'm going to tase you. Do you understand that? Is that a yes or no?
Do you want to be looked at by EMS?
Step out for me, we gotta come back to this.
Adam, do you want to be looked at by EMS?
Yes.
Okay. Then are you getting
You're under arrest.
Officer Baker's
Some of your freedoms are gone. Okay? While you're in my custody, you obey my orders, or I will make you obey them. Do you understand that? It's a very simple question.
I'm ready for EMS.
Not until you're cooperative, you're not. How's that sound? And you're breathing just fine. Or are you going to cooperate?
For EMS, yep.
Marvelous. Come on, guys. This is Adam. He's been pepper sprayed.
All right.
Recording breathing difficulties.
Okay. Adam, what's your last name? Rupeka.
Sadly, abuse like that taking place in this video of a person who's in handcuffs and powerless to defend himself and who has broken no laws goes on all the time, hidden behind thick walls and the shiny facade of hero worship that far too many Americans unquestioningly bestowed upon police officers, many of whom do not deserve the honor or the accolades. A lot of people, mostly police officers, but strangely many mindlessly indoctrined members of the public as well, absolutely hated Adam for doing this. They accused him of harassing police, or of just looking for trouble, or of deserving to be assaulted and arrested, or of being, their favorite word for a while, a scumbag. When the people should have actually been thanking him. They should be thanking him for putting himself on the line to ensure that police officers respect the law as much as everybody else, that they do not harass and hurt citizens, that they do not go around making up their own laws, that they don't go around acting as both judge, jury, and the executioner in the streets, and that they're held accountable for their actions. All citizens have reason to be grateful that somebody is doing this difficult work. Good police officers would recognize this and would be grateful that he had gotten a bad one off the streets, but it's beginning to appear less likely that there are a lot of good cops around. You can see everybody standing around and not doing anything and not helping Adam. As a result of this, Officer Baker was suspended and ultimately asked to resign. Surprisingly, a lot of people came forward supporting the officer. I wonder if they saw the video that we just watched, guys.
A fundraiser is now online for the Saratoga Springs police officer suspended after using pepper spray on a man who flipped him off. Officer Nathan Baker is suspended without pay from the force after his altercation last month with Adam Rupeka. This is video of that incident right here. Rupeka is a self-proclaimed cop watcher, and while his mother-in-law tells the Gazette his suspension is unjustified, she tells the paper the money will go toward getting an experienced lawyer to defend him in upcoming disciplinary hearings and pay living expenses. Just last week, the district attorney dropped resisting arrest charges against Rupeka. The police chief told CBS 6 he's looking to fire the officer.
The reason Adam was out there in the first place is that he had heard numerous complaints from people who said that they were being treated poorly by police in Saratoga Springs. So he was there to see what was really going on and to ensure that the police respected the citizens' rights. So when he flipped off Officer Baker, it wasn't to mindlessly harass a cop. It was to ensure that the police were not harassing citizens who were not breaking the law, even when those citizens might be expressing themselves in ways that the police took personally or didn't actually like. Police are not above the law, and they're expected to obey the same laws as the rest of us. And as many of us know, they do not always think so. These officers must be held accountable, whether it's through a judicial system, which is pretty rare, but more importantly through the court of public opinion. If police get away with these things, then where does it end? What happens is they become so accustomed to getting their way and getting away with things that it goes all the way up the ladder, and even in a lot of cases, they feel like they're actually entitled to shoot and kill somebody because they feared for their safety. So this is the kind of work that Adam did. He worked to bring about police accountability in a society where such accountability is both missing and sorely needed for everyone's well-being. On another occasion, Adam sat on the steps of a police department drinking a root beer. He said that the plan was to take a funny photo, but he was ready with a video camera when police inevitably approached him to find out what was in the bottle.
Not much, guys. What's up?
What are you doing?
Just sitting here.
Are you drinking a beer?
Do you think I'm drinking a beer?
Is that a question with a question?
I don't know. Is it?
All right. Well, what are you drinking?
I'm not drinking anything. Talking to you.
What's in your hand?
Glass bottle.
I'll just record you as you record me. What's in the bottle?
I don't know. What's in the bottle?
I'm asking you. Take your hand out of your pocket, please.
For what?
Because you're starting to make me feel threatened because you're not cooperating. All right, thank you. You can record me all you want. I'm recording you as well. What is in the bottle?
Nothing.
Show me. Tip it upside down.
I don't have to show you that there's nothing in the bottle.
You're drinking something that resembles a beer bottle.
Could resemble other stuff, right?
Are you or are you not? To me, I believe that is a beer bottle.
Why?
Because it looks like a beer bottle. So, can you tell me what's in the bottle?
No, I can't tell you what's in the bottle.
Why not?
Because I don't have to. I don't even have to talk to you.
What's your deal? Take your hands out of your pockets, please. Thank you. Okay. So you're not going to tell me what's in your bottle?
I don't have to.
Why is that?
Well, nobody has to answer any questions of the police at all at any time.
Why do you think so?
Because that's part of the Bill of Rights.
If I have reason to believe that you're breaking the law by sitting here with an empty beer bottle to antagonize me, is what you're doing.
So if you think it's an empty beer bottle, then what does that tell you? There's nothing in there.
All right. I don't understand why you have to be so difficult.
I don't know why you have to come out here and do that.
Because you're sitting out in front of a police station drinking what resembles a beer just to be arrogant. I mean, it just doesn't seem respectful or anything. I don't understand. Have I treated you with any disrespect at all? Your life must be absolutely dead. You have to sit here and do stuff like that. Do you have children or anything that
I got a great life.
or a family that you could be tending to?
Great life. Don't you have criminals you should be going and checking out?
You know?
Other stuff to do?
I was checking out a potential criminal, which is part of my job. That's all.
So you can see why a guy like this might have gotten under their skin. He was able to use their own ignorance to make fools of themselves. And that did not make him a popular guy with the police. But being cocky is not a crime, so their irritation with him resulted in a festering sense of importance. Officers took to publicly complaining about him all the time, insulting him and occasionally threatening him over social media. He was repeatedly doxxed. There was no news story about him that was complete without somebody, often multiple somebodies, posting his home address online in what amounted to vague and sometimes not so vague threats against his safety, his well-being, and even his life. Some of that doxing even came from police officers, or what is thought to be police based on their social media accounts. Adam was a man who made a career out of exposing police misconduct and agitating for police accountability. So we have reason to be asking some questions about Adam's mysterious demise. Adam's story took a strange and devastating turn in late March of 2016 when he and his girlfriend were both arrested early one morning for allegedly touching a teenager inappropriately. Both were charged with misdemeanors as a result. Adam maintained his innocence, but the media and his detractors obviously had a heyday over the arrests. Only later did it come to light that the accuser was Adam's estranged wife's daughter, and there may have been ulterior motives. Adam and his wife were going through a very bitter divorce, and they had custody issues. And it had also been reported that the accuser had made similar allegations in the past. That turned out to be false. Adam and Jennifer both maintained their innocence. This is a conversation between Jennifer and her sister shortly after the allegations. Now, I'm not comfortable posting my personal opinion about this matter, and none of us were there, but I do think it's relevant to bring up because of the fact that this actually set off a chain of events that ultimately led to 2 people winding up dead in a Tijuana hotel shortly after being scared that the cops were going to kill them. The media and Adam's detractors had a field day in the wake of his arrest. People who had hated him for his cop-watching activities suddenly felt vindicated for all their vicious character attacks upon him during the time that he was active with Cop Block. There were immediate and bizarre, given the circumstances, calls for Nathan Baker, that's the officer who pepper sprayed him, to be reinstated as a Saratoga police officer. Because apparently, in some minds, an allegation of abuse against Adam somehow erased the fact that this officer had violated the law, exceeded his authority, abused and falsely arrested him, and then abused that citizen further in jail, all of which, of course, was captured on video. They were both able to post bail, and this is where the story starts to get really, really weird. They were both due in court later that week, and legal experts agreed that even in the event that they had been found guilty on these misdemeanors, it would be very unlikely that they would have served any time in jail or had to pay any fine that exceeded the $10,000 bail that they both handed in. And they would have got that money back once they returned to court. So from a legal standpoint, they really had no reason to flee. But for some reason, they did. Had they quietly skipped bail, they might never have been found. Police typically don't put a lot of emphasis on catching petty offenders. However, the police were very unlikely to have viewed this as a petty case. Adam was not due in court until April 1st, but by March 26th, bizarre posts began appearing on his girlfriend's Facebook page, already suggesting that the two had jumped bail. So my question is, why give them a 4-day head start? On March 28th at around 9:52 a.m., a comment posted from Jennifer's account that read in part, Adam knows that if he goes to jail, they're going to kill him. When we first arrived at the jail, the cop wanted to, quote, take him out. I heard him. Adam doesn't even know about this. You can't go around pissing off cops and corrections officers and expect there not to be any consequences for that or for them not to come after you. There's no way that either one of us would get a fair trial. On March 28th, Adam made a post on Facebook that said, this is all because of everything that I've exposed of police doing. He says that he's come home to find 3 black SUVs outside of his home with plainclothes officers coming in and out of his home. He said he did not know why they were there, and that is when he became afraid for his life. Now that sounds awfully familiar. Those of you who know who Long Island Audit is, a similar incident just happened with him over a misdemeanor charge as well, and both were in the state of New York. Fortunately for Long Island, he had everything recorded. Could police have killed them? Were they ever even alive in Mexico at all? Everything is a question mark now, and I do not have the resources or the connections to chase down the answers. My hope is that someone who does might come forward and offer some information. Because the only facts that we clearly know are Adam was a police accountability activist, and that would cause him to be hated by many police officers who were quite vocal about their hatred toward him. Adam claimed to have a long story that was going to tell what was really going on, and he was going to put that out. No video has ever appeared. He was reported dead in Mexico on April 3rd. He apparently left no note, no manifesto, no video behind to explain why he would commit suicide. This is extremely inconsistent with his character. Additionally, there was a report by a friend of his who posted that she suspected that the messages were not from him. So she sent him a message just to see whether or not anyone would log into his account and check his messages. And on April 6th, someone did. 3 days after he died, after the investigation had concluded that his death was ruled a suicide, and before anyone in his family got any of his things back, someone checked his Facebook messages. She sent 2 messages. The first one was unchecked, but then she realized it was short and you would be able to read the message without clicking on it. So on instinct, she decided to type him another message, and that one was checked that evening. There are so many unanswered questions about this situation, especially with New York's history of retaliation and what's going on with Long Island audits right now. I have another question. Why was there no suicide note, no manifesto, no video? Being Adam the way that he is with recording everything how he does, the only type of a final note was a weird short letter written in lipstick asking the Mexican authorities to withhold their ID. So it's very, very bizarre. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section, guys. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.